Today, I'm going to walk you through the stages of learning so you understand what your field looks like, what journey you're really on when it comes to making change. You may say, I want to take my business to the next level, and I have no idea what it looks like. Well, every time we get to the next level, every time we make a quantum jump, an exponential change in our life, we encounter a totally new stage. And this conversation is your stages of learning. So no matter what stage you are playing on, what stage you are attempting to play on, you know what the heck is going on. I'm going to walk you through this. We're going to make this thing magic. So this is the stages of learning. Okay, first thing we got to start with is a shape. There are 4 stages of learning. And what we're looking to do in this particular outline is help you find where you are so that you know where you need to go. It sounds simple, but it's important. So the first stage is I don't know that I don't know. This is also called unconscious incompetence. When we're in this phase, you're oblivious. You're totally ignorant, right? This is like, oh no, I'm totally fine. I'm great with jujitsu. I never get hurt. Or no, I can speak French. It's easy. No problem. We're ignorant. We don't know anything. And more importantly than that, we're not even aware that we don't know anything. When we're in this phase, what we need is some kind of spark, some kind of catalyst, AKA we need an awakening. So this awakening is really important. I can remember I've been in athletics my whole life. I played Division I college soccer, and I remember getting in a car accident in 2014. And it was the first time that I'd ever been hurt so bad that I couldn't run. And it was really scary. I had an awakening that was like, I didn't know that I could lose this. I maybe didn't appreciate this as much as I could. So we need some kind of awakening. Sometimes though, an awakening comes from information, and you might learn something that is like, oh my God, I really need to change this. You might not have known about heartbreak until you had an awakening. You might not have known about various different coaching platforms or personal development until you had an awakening. This is important. On the other side, we have stage number 2. I know that I don't know. We call this conscious incompetence. So now I'm aware that I'm incompetent. I'm not very well tuned in to what is necessary to get to the next place. And I think that much of our time is spent here. Now, these phases are kind of represented equally. I will explain that in a bit because they're certainly not. But this idea that now in this phase, I'm aware I can begin to work. I can begin to build and cross the line of experience. So this line of experience is important. Once I cross the line of experience, once I understand that, okay, I'm aware that I'm not very good at this. I'm not very talented. I'm not very practiced in it. I can get my experience, and then I can end up here where I know that I know. This is also called conscious competence. This is basically, I'm confident. I'm confident enough in what's happening. I'm confident in who I am. I'm confident that I have enough experience to speak credibly. So we've gone from ignorance to awareness to confidence. We are now starting to work our way to the final stage. I think when we get through learning, like we love this phase. We love confidence. Confidence feels great. It looks great. It's awesome. We love to be in confidence. At some point though, we get to a place where we have to do more than just have a little bit of experience. We have to cross the line of practice. And in many ways, this is deliberate practice. It's not just accidental practice. That's experience. Accidental practice is called experience. Deliberate practice, where we are intentional about everything that's going on, and we know we got to get better, and we're tuning and dialing and swapping, and we're doing all this work to get better. At this phase, we don't know that we know. Better said, unconscious competence. This final stage is so important. It can't be understated. This is mastery. Mastery doesn't have to think. Mastery doesn't need to meditate on what to do. It just does. I'll give you an example of this because I think mastery is often misrepresented. Mastery doesn't mean you don't have to try. Mastery doesn't mean that you don't have to put in energy. Mastering is really about where your conscious is. Are you focused on the individual activity or the macro result? The master focuses on the macro result, not the individual effort, because we've created so much deliberate practice. So I'll explain the difference because this is important. The confident person knows what to do and focuses on the doing. The master doesn't focus on the doing, it focuses on the result. So here's a great example of how this has applied to me in the past. I was a soccer player for a long time. As a soccer player, I was confident. I couldn't get to the next level beyond college, but I knew that when I started coaching, I could help everybody that I had underneath my coaching umbrella. I knew I could help them. So one day, one of my players said, "Hey, coach, how do you spin a ball around a wall? Like, we just saw you do that." And I had to stop for a minute and think about, like, well, what did I do? And I had to stop and think and really pause on what was happening because it was unconscious. Like, for me to do that, I'd been doing it for so long, I didn't have to think about it. I was focused on the result. Can I get the ball around the wall into the goal? Not what are the individual mechanics. Now, they were practicing and getting some experience, really starting here. They saw me do it. Aha, coach, how did you do that? Then it was, now that I've showed them the steps, they could build experience and start building confidence by going around that. And the same is true in the professional space. Doesn't matter if it's athletics. In the professional space, you might say, all right, well, I'm really good at presenting or speaking. I'm tremendous at crafting and art. I'm really good with the paintbrush. I'm phenomenal at building workout plans. Whatever it is, like, you probably have some degree of mastery. Now, the question is, what do you want your mastery to be in? So if you tell me, hey, I want to be a great Airbnb host, or I want to build a rental portfolio, great. You want mastery in this domain. Well, now we need to figure out where you are. So the stages of learning gives you a chance to understand where you are and start to look at what's my next stage. And in particular, what line do I need to cross? Now, I'll say this, if I had to redraw this based on how the phases look, it'd be remarkably different. It would look like this. Your first phase of ignorance would be really small. Then your next phase of awareness would be pretty small. Then your next phase of confidence would be really small. And mastery would take you all the way here. It would take that much deliberate practice, that whole arc to get there. It takes so long to develop mastery. And these phases can go fast. We can go from ignorant to aware very fast. We can go from aware to confident very fast. We can get from confident to mastery, ain't gonna be fast. This is important for you to isolate your dream. And when you think about your future, your breakthrough, the goals that you have, what we want you to pay attention to is, where am I now with the skills that I have, the mindset that I have, the practice that I have, and not be disillusioned to say, well, I'm already a master. Of course you're not. You've not done it before. If you had done it before and you were a master, you wouldn't be coming to us for a breakthrough. The breakthrough happens when you recognize you're probably here. There's a lot of stuff you don't know that you don't know. And when you recognize this, then you become this like awakening. Now you're aware, right? You went from asleep to awake. And what I would encourage you to consider is that as you reflect on this and you really map out, like, where are you in the things that you need to be great at? And the things that you need to be great at for your dream, are you here? Where on this are you? That way you can begin to understand what your work is ahead. If you say, hey, I want to be a musician and I want to be the next Ed Sheeran and the next Taylor Swift. Okay, are you here? Because they are. Where are you? And if you think about something like music or art or sports, it's an easy trail. If your dream is something different, like being a sophisticated real estate investor, or you want to work for a major corporation, but you're not quite the master yet, this will help you figure out your pathway. So the exercise that we have for you is just to map out, where are you in the stages of learning, to journal a little bit about it and reflect on, where am I, so that I can begin to understand what my work is. Do you need the awakening? Maybe this is it. Maybe you need the experience to just get started, right? You know that there's a long journey ahead, but you're stuck in this middle gap. Maybe it's time to just build a little bit of experience and get started. Probably going to fail a lot. That's part of experience. But maybe that's where you are. Or maybe you're confident, but you're not quite the master, and you know that you need deliberate practice. So the stages of learning is a very powerful tool. I happen to love talking about the stages of learning because we pay for learning, we invest in learning, we build for learning. Obviously, it's a big part of our company and what we do here at Get Out of Your Own Way, but it's also a really simple outline of, how do you get what you want? Well, we all start here and we all want to get here. Very few end up here because they don't know the sequence. This is the formula for any kind of growth and any kind of learning. Take on the exercise, see how it fits, see where you are, and let us know how you like it. We'll see you soon. In today's coaching conversation, we've got a very special guest. Chuck Robinson is here with us. He's been a part of one of our coaching programs and I've watched him change and grow so much. And like all of us, we can get frustrated and stuck, being afraid of success and being afraid of failure, whether you're quitting your job or building a business where you've worked really hard to create success. And it can be really scary to see how fast it's going and how much change is ahead. And it can be equally as scary to think about failing and crumbling underneath all the pressure. I can promise you that this conversation, thinking about transition, is true for most of us, where the next level scares us and to go down also scares us, to bottom out. So this tactical, crunchy conversation about what you can do will help you if you feel like you're stuck between a rock and a hard place with growth and expansion or succumbing to all the pressure that you're under. Let's talk about high performance today. Chuck, welcome to the show.